Transpersonal, transpersonal, right? Okay. What is the meaning of transpersonal? Yeah. Changing the personality, right? Right.
No, that's fun. One.
Huh?
Going beyond the personality.
Yeah, that's just changing the personality, transforming the personality, right? Yeah. Now we are in this very beautiful world, a great field, very vast, vast, vast field. That's the field of growth. We are in a field of growth, right? This world. Even though it appears sometimes very tedious and cumbersome and tiresome, it has got its value. Now, when you get tired, you say you get tired, right? You say, I'm tired today, right? But it is really tired, or your mind says, I'm tired. Tell me, see, whether you really get really tired, or your mind says, I'm tired. See. Now, the brain scientists have found that when you are doing the chanting, these chants really help the healing process. Why it helps is the brain scientists have found that all the neurons means what? What is the neurons? Brain cells. Brain cells. Okay. Because I had to explain everything very correct. These brain cells, in the center of the brain, they form a garland, oval-shaped garland. And it is exactly the garland we use to worship God. They form like this, shape of a garland. The brain cells, they all go side by side without discarding any one of them in an array, in a beautiful way. They form that garland in the middle of the brain. In the middle of the brain, where you have got what you call the blue jagger, which is the midpoint of the brain, right? Oh, brain is like a jellyfish. Of course, it's a jellyfish. It's full of water, 90% water. And and then that garland, it appears like the tree of life, which British has put there on the outside wall for all of you to see that. It's a tree of life, right? It's a Jewish concept, and also it's an Indian concept. It's also a Christian concept. Now, Keegan is wearing a fish around his neck. See, when he became a Christian, whatever he became, that is. Now, see, that shape is the same shape where the cells form in the brain, middle of the brain. See, that's the recent study shows that how they are formed. And what is the purpose of those cells going and forming a garland around that midpoint? That is Sahasrara, what the Indians call Sahasrara, that's the midpoint. The seventh, middle of the seventh chakra, the center point through which all the energies from the universe come. And we have a world, we live in the world. We don't know much of the world at all. We live in it. How many of you know now, Gip is in this for all his life, in this, what is called Rancho and Cone. But how much he knows about Rancho and Cone?
There's a lot of weeds he hasn't
Not,
tried at all.
yeah, right, I mean, not much.
Yeah, not much, not much. Till he owns it, he doesn't know what is Rancho and Cone is. Of course, he can tell the meaning of it. It's a safe harbor and all those things he can
But
say.
it's superficial.
Huh?
It's superficial.
Yeah,
Knowledge
whatever
is
it is,
superficial.
Officially, he will say it is safe harbor, but it's superficial, not official, but superficial. See, so how much you know? It's same. Likewise, we don't know about ourselves. I have lived in this body for more than 70 years, and you have lived in this body for 50 years, 20 years, 30 years, whatever it is, in this body. But how much you know of this body? And who are you not to know about the body? Why do you live in this body if you don't know what it is? So then we have now this garland, what I'm telling the garland It's actually the crown. It's what the crown chakra they call. That. And from the center point of that brain, a actually an axis is there. A kind of skewer. The skewer on which you make barbecues and all those things. So it goes like that. Down below it goes, and passes your throat chakra, center of the throat, and go to the left side of the heart, not the right side, but the left side of the heart. And then from there, it goes inside like the acupuncture needle. It goes inside and it pierces the center of this. What this chakra called?
The yum.
Yeah.
Yum.
Yeah.
Yum. Yum.
So, and goes down and goes into the earth. It's the magnetic field. That's what the magnetic field always rotates like that. It's a spiral movement or a downward spiral movement. Upward spiral movement or a downward spiral movement. Why it does that? When you sleep, it's a downward spiral movement, and when you are awake, it's the upward spiral movement. Yeah, you are asking me about the mathematics of that, right? Mathematical version of this. Okay. Involution and evolution. Exactly. Involution and evolution. So that's how it does. It's the spirals go up like that. You must have experienced it sometime in your sleep. You may dream, but you are dreaming something different. The person who dreams is not the same person who is living in the body.
Would
The
you say that
person-
again, Chuck?
The person who dream,
Yeah.
is not the person who is living in the body.
Whoa.
Yeah, you think you dream, and in morning you get up, oh, I had a dream. A horrible dream or a good dream or whatever, pleasant dream or unpleasant dream. But you are not the same person who has seen the dream. Because you are in your own dream. Huh? You are in your own dream, right? So you are not the same person who sees the dream. Right? Because you are seeing yourself. If you are the same person, if the person who is dreaming is not the person who is really seeing the dream. So you are different there. And what is that difference is? You are somebody else when you dream. Who is that somebody else which you have not recognized? That person you have not recognized, you have not understood. And the spiritual atmosphere you create, like chanting and all those things, is to know the person. Know the person you don't know, yet to reside in your body, but you don't know yourself. You are the other to yourself, right? And the God is the other. So you are the other to yourself. And when you are not other to yourself, as he was telling, when you have the really profuse amount of kindness, compassion. Compassion is nothing but a kind of passion rising out of the spirals of the body, the spirit-oriented parts of the body. They rise. They rise like sometimes they rise like a smoky cloud, smoke. Sometimes they rise like a really in a light, just whirling light. And that leads to a kind of enlightenment. And there is a temporary phase of enlightenment. It's not very permanent phase. It's a very temporary phase of enlightenment. Now, when you are enlightened, what happens to you? Suppose you get enlightened by chance. It may be one in some billions, but one chance in a billion is there. You might get enlightened in this life. So, what you feel when you get enlightened? Now, see, you have millions of universes. It's not, we have only one earth. We know, not too much of it, but we know that we are on this earth, and there is water, we know, and the fire, water, and all those things are there on this earth. We experience certain things when you are near a fire, or when you are in Miami, we experience the ocean, all those things we experience. And a person who lives near the water knows how to dance. I tell you that. A person who lives near and a person who lives near the mountain knows how to sing. Yeah, really. That's what it was. Now you see all the great writers who wrote music, like Beethoven and all those people, you know. I don't know a lot of names of those. All those people. They were either lived near the mountains. They lived near the mountains. And those people who dance, it's a wave. See, that's what happens. You imitate the wave. Dance is a wave. The person becomes a wave when she dances. So because it corresponds to the waves of the water. That's your experience. That's the experience. It's wave, not a wavelength. Wavelength means you limit that. Okay, that wave. That's the wave. And in the cosmic sense, that wave you cannot actually see, but you see in that person when she dances. It's a wave. And I think she lived near the ocean, most surely, right? Yeah. The salt water and everything, that helps. Yeah.
Pacific and the Atlantic. We got it covered.
Huh?
The Pacific and the Atlantic.
Yeah, whatever it is.
And
Yeah. And Sandy lived near the ocean also, right? Yeah, Sandy lived near the ocean. Therefore she was floating in the air when I first saw her. So that's that's the ocean. And Patricia has started this recently, means some years ago, started singing very beautifully. She sings, and that's the mountain has given that ability to sing. Mountains never move, you see, but they move. You see, we don't understand that they move also. They all move, in sense, everything in movement, terrific movement. We don't know what it is. Like a top, how to play. It seems as though it is standing still. And great speed, velocity, seems as though it's standing still. But like that, all these things are moving around us. Everything is moving. It's hard to discern that. Hard for us to know that everything is moving. It looks as though everything is stationary, like standing still or stationary. So, so this is the whole world we are living in, of course, including the earth. It has got a one crowded moment of glory. One crowded moment of glory. See, and the remembrance. Remembrance is not the remembrance of the past, it's the remembrance of yourself. Remembrance is always in the present, it's not in the past at all. You remember, there's a difference between remembering and remembrance. There's a difference. You remember things, you rake up your brain. I raked my brain to remember something, I can't find it. But you rake up your brain. Here you don't rake up your brain. What do you do? You don't rake up your brain. What do you do? You amuse in the brain. You amuse yourself in the brain. It's an amusement. Your brain is an amusement park. It's just like amusement park. Everything is there in that, in that brain. It's, of course, even the brawn is there. The brain has the brawn. And so it's just like an amusement park. You just observe yourself, how the brain acts, what it does. So it has an ability to cast an image beyond itself. What you see in the dream is the image cast by the brain beyond itself. It has the ability to do that. And not transpersonal, what is that? Another psychology they have.
sacred? Sacred? Sacred.
So the sacred psychology.
Cognitive?
No, not cognitive.
Transformational? Transformational?
Transpersonal, we talked about transpersonal. Whatever it is. Now, let us forget about the word. They have coined a lot of new words, it's hard to, you don't find those words in dictionary at all. They have coined a lot of words from Greek and Latin. They joined two, Greek and Latin, made, you say, it's in Greek and Latin to me, right? And you don't understand something, it's all Greek and Latin. Greek and Latin, right? They found like that, these things. So I am looking at the time. 10 minutes. Yeah. So that's how it is. Now, the spinning, you know the spinning wheel, right? Spinning wheel. And this was actually, spinning wheel was remembered by Gandhi. The spinning, that's the remembrance in the present. What is the spinning wheel? What is the spinning wheel? That your central pole, the central pole of every human being spins. See, don't think your spinal cord is there, static. No, it spins. See, right? Yeah, you don't know. Don't say yes, you don't know. But I am telling you, it spins. Okay, that spins. And your bones move. With tremendous speed, they move. Because you are such space in your body, so much space, it's impossible to even imagine that. Only we think of the space outside, as long as I could see, that's the space. But your brain could go beyond itself and see the space, that side of the divine grace. And what must be beyond divine grace? We only know divine grace. We don't know how it comes, what is its extent, how big it is, how vast, we don't have an idea about. But still we say about divine grace, we talk about divine grace. But this brain can go beyond divine grace. And where it will go beyond divine grace? Beyond the divinity, which everything is encompassed in divinity, right? Everything is encompassed. Whole creation is enveloped by the divine. Forces and energy and everything, right? But this brain, a 2.5 pound muscle, can see, go beyond it. And the recent, experimental psychology, yes, the experimental psychology shows that the brain can project itself beyond the limit of anything, beyond the limit of everything. It can project itself outside. See, so the brain is a 2.5 pound thing, or sometimes it is 2 pounds, because it's a small brain and big brain and all those things are there. It is full of more water, it's too little heavier. And that's called a heavy brain, Okay. So, and then you have small brain, which is not developed yet. It is in development. So this brain has actually developed from a single atom, which is the circumstantial production of a neuron. Circumstantially it produced it in somehow. So it is that cell, that one single cell, which created this brain. And that cell has cells within cells within cells within, till it becomes nothing. See, it's cells within cells within. We think the cells are only cells, that inside this electrons and protons and neurons and all those things, they circle. They go round and round and round. That's what we know about the cells. That's what the science knows about cells. But the great philosophers and the great saints and sages have found in that they went deeper and deeper into themselves, piercing every cell of the body, every cell of the brain. Okay, piercing it. When you pierce it, don't think it will die. No, it will remain intact, but you pierce it. Not like some instrument you have the arrow or something. No, not like that. You pierce it through the magnetic field, the magnetic cord, you pierce it through. And when they go deeper and deeper into it, the cells, deeper and deeper, nothing you find there. Only to that extent where the electrons and protons and everything are there, you find that. Then you find the molecules and particles and all those things. But in the end, nothing is there. It's a void. That's what Buddha called shunyata. That's how he called it. It's shunyata. is void. Right? And that void is full of this universe. From that void has come this whole universe, including ourselves and the animals and the trees and all those things from that void. From that nothingness, we have become something. Right? Yeah, from that nothingness. How that produced all these things, that nothingness, nobody can say how that produced it. How created all these billions of universes. We've got billions of universes. And we call the cosmos, which contains this universe and billions of stars and all those things. And like that, there are many cosmoses, many of them. So it's mind-boggling, I tell you. Don't think about it. Think about yourself. It's so mind-boggling, all these things. So many cosmos. Cosmos is outside the cosmos. Outside that there is a cosmos. Outside there is a cosmos. There is no end to it. That's what the Indians call it Indrajala. That means the magic web of the Creator. The magic web of the Creator. Now, when Patricia was with me, I was in Brazil. When we went to Brazil, Belo Horizonte, there were scientists and psychologists and all those people, and nurses and doctors, all were there. And I was sitting under whom I never even thought of, understanding, Freud. I was sitting under the portrait of Freud. Yeah, it actually fried my ego. And explaining the whole thing about the whole. See, I happen to draw. In nowhere, I don't know I'm not a brain scientist or anything. I'm not a physicist, I'm nothing as a matter of fact, like that void, I'm nothing. I can produce all those things, like a musician produces a rabbit from the and produce like that from the hat. So I draw the picture of the brain, right? It's so intricate, ask her. It's so intricate. And every point there, point of contact, we call it, point of contact and point of departure. Point of contact and the point of departure. See? So there are 108 points. I draw the 108 points, but it can be 1008, more, it can be more. But only I could draw that 108 points of all the joining points and the tissue forms, and above that, the web, what is called the web of the brain. And it is exactly the web of the universe. I didn't know that. When they photographed it, and then they studied the whole thing and found that the picture I drew without any kind of experience or anything is the web of the universe. So this brain of ours is connected to the web of the universe. It's just like you're all like spiders, We make our own webs. We create our own webs in the world. And the spider is a very intelligent creature. We create our own webs. Spider weaves its own webs out of its own substance. We do the same thing. We do the web, create the web out of our own substance. And the spider insists in the web. It knows which string to follow when a fly comes or an insect comes. Which string to follow. But we don't know that one. We create the web and we get caught up in that web. And the spider never gets caught up in the web, its own web. So it's intelligent, more intelligent than us, a spider. If a spider can be so intelligent, what about us? And the spider has not studied any philosophy, no science, nothing. It has not gone to any university, it has not any school, nothing. Who taught the spider to weave the web? Who? So there is something beyond us that teaches us to do things. Even the animals, teach us to do things. There is something that we don't know. To know that, we have science, we have philosophy, we have psychology, We have biology, we have, what else we have got? So many things. I don't know name all the things. Yeah. So many things we have, to know this one thing, how you know? You know how you know? No. See? How wonderful it is. We don't know how we know. Right? It's mind-boggling, right? When we know how we know, then you know the Creator. Now make all the experiments. Go to any lab and everything and make all the experiments. They don't know how they know. No one knows how we know. I don't know how I know. If I know how I know, then I will be the person whom I know. Till then I will not be the person, whom I know. And that person will be myself. See? Yeah. This is what the meaning of know thyself. This is what it means. We simply utter these words. And I know somewhere I was speaking once, all the religious people were there, all the Christians and Buddhists and Hindus and Muslims, all were there. I was speaking one day. And all this, they spoke very profoundly about the religion and all those things. And everybody was telling, know thyself. Every religion says that, know thyself. Know yourself first. Then I was telling this. He was the last Catholic priest who spoke before me, of course. And I was the 21st or 22nd to speak. And I was given only 13 minutes. Not even a second on that. 13 minutes. Very unlucky number. I had I was fortunate enough to have 13 seconds, 13 minutes to speak. The whole thing. And they talked about an hour, half an hour like that, they according to their own capacity of talking. And I just stopped him on the stage, this priest. Now you are telling, know thyself. What do you do to know yourself? Oh, you got all these methods. We pray, we meditate, and all those things. And then you have yoga, and so many things are there, so you do it. Okay. See what happens? You project yourself outside of yourself. So you meditate on that, or you pray, whatever you do, with that whole self you have projected outside. That concept of the self you have projected outside. And try to reach it. To know thyself. Right? Instead of knowing thyself inside you, you go outside, you project it outside. Right? And you have the methods. Then you have the method. Yoga method, meditation method. And your teacher says, if you follow this, you'll see yourself, know yourself. 10 years, 5 years, whatever it is. He puts a limit to that. And I have seen people who have meditated for 10 years, 15 years, without knowing anything. Okay. Without knowing. Because it is somewhere here. You go outside yourself. You project it somewhere outside yourself and try to see, realize something which doesn't exist. See the psychology of it, the logic of it. Now this priest stood there and looked at me and patted me. You're right. You're right. Yeah. All the time you are going outside. And when you do this, you are caught up in the method and not the real thing. You are caught up in the method. You are consumed with the method. That's what happens. That causes illusion. That causes illusion of the self. So you are going away from reality, you must know that. The reality is yourself. You are the real. From unreal to the real. Right? Oh Lord, lead me from the unreal to the real. That means lead me to myself. And myself is all self. Not I'm not particular, I'm talking about me. But myself is yourself, is all self. That's what you are talking about. All self. We celebrate sometimes All Saints Day and All Souls Day, right? Where is that soul? It's actually in the leg. Soul of the leg, right? Yeah, that's the soul. So in the transpersonal psychology, it is the transpersonal.
Yeah.
Transpersonal psychology, the soul is equated with the psyche. And now you'll ask me, what is the psyche? Right? Yeah. Now we come to the modern New Age. I'm not a New Age product. Okay. You have a lot of books have been written about New Age and everything, and a lot of things have been written about New Age. That about holographic universe, holographic brain, holographic body. All those things are there. How many people understand by reading those books? Tell me. First, you tell me what is the holograph. They don't explain. They said holographic universe. What is the holograph? Yeah? You know holograph?
Holograph is an image that
Right.
you can break apart and all millions of pieces still maintain the whole image.
The whole is there. All the pieces, yeah. The whole is there. So, you need not need a holographic universe for that. You need not wish the holographic universe. Because this whole universe is reflected in you. You are the image of that universe, you must know that. The whole universe is reflected in you, including all the millions of stars and galaxies and all those things. That's what I'm telling you. Why that circle of that thing in the brain indicates the entire creation, not just our universe, our world, the entire thing we don't know. It is beyond. So this brain has the capacity to go to that place, whatever that place is. It may not be anywhere. That place may not be anywhere. But it can go beyond itself. Beyond itself. So people say mind can go beyond itself, right? Mind can turn on itself or it can go beyond itself. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Because at that time, this mind is not matter. It's not matter. Then you are not matter. All of us do not matter at all. Nothing matters at that time. It's only mind. Nothing else. That's called the over mind, the universal mind, or the timeless mind. So we generally, when we meditate and do our prayers and all, sincerely you have to do it, not in a haphazard way. You establish a kind of discipline. Morning at 8 o'clock, you get up at 8 o'clock at least. I hope so. Right? And so many people get up at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock. But 8 o'clock, generally we take in the United States, 8 o'clock, they just yawn at least. Yeah. So, in that yawn comes the whole night's exertion. Right? That's what we call sleep. Yeah. So, most really will be fantasizing in the night. Therefore, you don't get sleep. We fantasize in the night. And in the daytime, we hallucinate. Right? True, huh? Something is true, right? Whatever. So what happens, this brain, whatever is the muscle, no doubt it's a muscle or jellyfish or whatever it is full of water. The essence of the brain, the essence of our brain is the root of the universe, you must know that. The essential brain energy is the root of the universe. See? So your brain, Sandy may think her brain belongs to herself. No, it belongs to the whole human race. Right? Think one thing. Always remember that. This mere brain of mine belongs to the whole human race. If you want to think of that, why I tell you this? The person in Tibet has got a brain also, right? A person in Iraq has got a brain also. Huh? A person in India has got a brain. A person in the United States has got a brain. A person. Of course, all the people have got brains, But to some extent, we don't know we have got brains. So, the brain is there to everybody.